We're back with a new right-wing effort to discredit President Obama for one of his greatest accomplishments, the death of bin Laden. A group called Veterans for a Strong America has released a new web ad accusing the president of disrespecting the Navy SEALs who completed the mission.
There'll be no parades. They've already gone back into the shadows without the outside world even knowing their names.
I can report I directed Leon Panetta. I was briefed. I met repeatedly. I determined at my direction. I called President Zardari. I, as Commander-in-Chief.
Karl Rove called it, quote, a powerful ad on Twitter. And Fox News invited the group's founder, Joel Arends, on TV to talk about it, giving him 8 minutes of national airtime to plug his ad.
He's not only spiked the football, he signed it, he threw it up in the stands with the fans, he's doing a dance in the end zone now. Instead, he should be giving the real credit to the real heroes who made the kill of bin Laden possible.
Of course, the ad is totally misleading. The president has given credit to the military over and over again.
I could not be prouder of you. And America could not be prouder of you. You've performed heroically in some of the most dangerous places on earth. You have done everything that has been asked of you and more. And you have earned a special place in our nation's history. This future is only within reach because of our men and women in uniform. I had 100% faith in the Navy SEALs themselves.
But facts don't seem to matter to the man behind the ad. Joel Arends is a former field director for the 2000 Bush-Cheney campaign. He worked for John McCain's 2008 campaign. And he's a former field director for the Koch brothers group, Americans for Prosperity. And if you had any doubt about his intentions with this ad, just check out what he told Mother Jones. He said, quote, yes, it's the swift boating of the president in the sense of using what's perceived to be his greatest strength and making it his greatest weakness. The notorious swift boat ads in 2004 attacked Democratic nominee John Kerry for his honorable service in Vietnam. It worked against Kerry. And now the right may be trying to do the same thing against President Obama. Joining me now is Chris Hayes, host of Up with Chris Hayes here on MSNBC, and Jonathan Capehart, an opinion writer for the Washington Post and an MSNBC contributor. Thanks for both of you being here.
Thanks,
Chris,
Brad.
let me start with you. Are you surprised the right wing may try to swift boat the president on one of his greatest achievements, the death of bin Laden?
No, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I think that this is essentially how they operate, and I do think that this effort seems schlocky and amateurish compared to the actual swift boat effort. And I also think the swift boat effort, what made it so destabilizing was that there was a factual contestation about the facts of the matter. This is a much more removed and abstract argument that he's handled it ex post facto poorly, but the actual facts of the matter, such, you know, the fact that Osama bin Laden is dead, he was killed by American Special Forces troops in Abbottabad, ordered by the president, are established, and people are going to do with that information what they are, and that's going to dominate or overwhelm any, I think, attempts to spin it.
Well, Jonathan, though, the facts are certainly different, and clearly they're trying to go beyond the facts because they need to do this in order to win. I mean, when you hear the ad saying that the Navy SEALs will never get a parade, we'll never know their name, well, that's part of the understanding of being in the Navy SEALs that you don't know their name. I mean, so to act like the president is not giving them credit, and not that is by definition what Navy SEALs sign up for, is that they have to remain anonymous. These are the kinds of desperate moves they're making to try and politicize something that has no real basis.
Right. You know, the president, they make it sound like the president took complete credit for it without even acknowledging the Navy SEALs. And what people should remember is that the president met with the SEAL Team 6. He met the men, the soldiers who were involved in that raid, and thanked them personally. The other thing is, while they're trying to take the president's strength and turn it into a weakness, what they're doing, for all the reasons that Chris laid out, the fact that this attack is removed from in a way that it was with the swift boating of John Kerry. This gives the president, the administration, and his re-election effort one more time to talk about the president's deep and personal involvement in ensuring that this raid went off well. It gives the president, the administration, and the re-election team another opportunity to tout this major success. How these guys are going to try to turn this strength really into a weakness is beyond me.
Well, let me ask you, Chris, let's connect some dots here. Political donations of Bob Perry to Texas Home Builder. He gave in 2004 $3 million to fund the Swift boat ads against John Kerry. Well, guess what? He gave $3 million to Mitt Romney's super PAC, Restore Our Future, in 2012.
Right. I mean, Perry is just one of the small coterie of right-wing millionaires and billionaires who are going to be funding the Romney super PAC. And again, the change in the law post-Citizens United is going to make this easier for everyone. There was just a new analysis out today that said at this point in the campaign 4 years ago, only 9% of ads were negative, and this year it's 70%. So it's going to be an even more negative campaign than it was in 2008 and even more than in 2004, partly because I think the mood of the country is relatively sour, partly because of the amount of money that's going to be poured in, particularly through the channels of super PACs. So this is just the beginning. I mean, this is a fairly, like I said, this is a fairly schlocky and amateurish undertaking. It's a first salvo. But just think, we've got 6 months ahead of us. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Now, Jonathan, when you hear Chris talking about how we've already seen an enormous increase in negative campaigning at this point compared to the same point last time, you expect a nasty campaign, particularly when you see people like the creator of the Willie Horton ad, Larry McCarthy, is creating ads for Restore Our Future. The same guy that did the Willie Horton ad in 1988 against the campaign of Michael Dukakis is now the guy that's doing the ads for Restore Our Future. And as you know, those ads were very ugly, race-tinged. I mean, we may be looking at a very nasty next 6 months.
Right. I've been saying that since this time last year, saying to people that the re-election effort in 2012 for President Obama is going to get very, very ugly. And that folks who were complaining about what was happening back then in terms of the distortions and the lies being told about the president, they ought to get used to it. And right now, it's starting to ramp up. But I guarantee you, by the time we're in the general election, after the last of the conventions in September, we're going to, and because of the 527 ruling and all these independent organizations out there, like Restore Our Future, spending money that the Romney campaign won't have to spend, people are going to be inundated with really ugly, horrible, nasty messages. And the problem, I think, for a lot of people are going to have is that while they're hearing a lot of negative statements and a lot of negative messages, they're going to wonder, where's the positive message? Where is, and I'm speaking particularly about the Romney campaign, where's their positive vision for the future? That's what people are trying to vote for when they go in the booths in November.
So now, Chris, will the negative, the overabundance of negative backfire? And it's like the one that strikes a match in the dark is the one that has the light? Is that the strategy you think the Obama campaign is going to use, or will it be ugly for ugly?
I gotta say, I think it's more likely to be the latter, and part of that is there's a fairly robust literature on the effects of negative ads, which is that they tend to be quite effective. They have diminishing returns over a certain amount of time, but I think that partly right now, I think you see the Obama administration focusing fairly positively in terms of the videos they're releasing about accomplishments, concrete accomplishments, things that have been done legislatively that have been signed into law that make the middle class more secure, for example. That's going to continue, and that will be one track. But as we get closer to Election Day, as you see more of the kinds of ads like what we're seeing with this sort of early initial Swift voting ad, you're going to have to respond in kind. That is certainly the nature of politics broadly, but particularly in this polarized moment, post-Citizens United moment, we're going to see a lot more of it.
Jonathan Capehart, Chris Hayes, thank you both for your time tonight, and have a good weekend, both of you. And please tune in for Chris, Show Up with Chris Hayes, right here on MSNBC every Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Still ahead, new signs that of a deep problem among women voters for Mitt Romney is selling. Could it cost him the election? But first, how Republican definitions of contempt seem to change depending on who's in office. Stay with us.